Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you doing today? I want to show you how I created this card. This is part of Simon Says Stamp Blog Hop. This is day 21 of the coloring challenge. And I had so much fun. I love coloring these watercoloring cards from Simon Says Stamp, and they're in their new release. So I have some Tombow watercolor markers here, and I'm getting my I'm going to drop in some color. So I wet that area and I scribbled some Tombow markers on a palette, and then I'm picking up that color and dropping it in to the wet area on this wave. Such fun. And I do this a lot at airports, on airplanes, because you're really not using that much water. So I keep picking up a little bit of paint. If I get too much, I dab it off on my rag, and now I'm picking up the next color. I kind of want a monochromatic look, but I want it to be fun. So I'm doing the same thing. Sorry, doing the same thing where I wet the area, then I bring in a line of color, and then I use more water to spread that color out so it's kind of a gradient look. So I'm doing that on everything, and then I'll be finishing my watercoloring off with some colored pencil accents. So at some point I'm going to speed this up because, like I always say, your time is valuable and you don't need to watch me do the same thing over and over and over. It's also kind of fun to watch it just happen. You might hear Max in the background. He's chewing his bone. He's starting to he's going to be 13 and he's slipping more, and I'm getting a little afraid that, you know, he's just aging more. So anyway, you hear that, but I need to make this video. So I'm going to keep on going here with his little noise in the background. Now, while I'm doing this, since I'm doing the exact same thing, every now and then you might see me pick up another color just for a little bit of color variation. A tip that I always talk about when you're doing watercoloring of any kind is, you know, maybe drop in one or two colors and then let it dry, and then bring in another color. So pretty soon, well, in the next coming weeks, starting today at 4 o'clock, I'm taking a watercoloring class. It's called Let It Flow or something like that. So it sounded interesting, and I'm so excited. I'll have new tips. Always sign up for online ones, and of course my favorite online classes are with online card classes. And you know, you could still go take those. But sometimes for me, I'm a procrastinator. It's better for me to physically go there. So I'm excited about that. So I'm just finishing this up, and then I'm going to squeeze in some glitter. You could use perfect pearls, anything that pearlescence that you have, and I'll be adding that to only certain sections of this card, certain sections on the waves and on the sun rays. You don't want to do it all, because then it's just like overkill and a little bit too much. So Simon prints these beautiful illustrations from Suzy Plantamura. I can't say her name, but they print them on the other Tim Holtz watercolor paper as two. One's rough, not rough, one's more textured and the other's smooth, and this is on the smooth side. And when I do my stamping on his paper, I like to use the textured side. It gives you a little bit more texture. But, you know, I actually, when I use the colored pencils, it did show a lot of texture, which is one of the great things about using colored pencils. And another great way just to add highlights and accents, it's faster. Like, if we all had more time to craft and stay in our crafts room and color, and if everyone did it, I think the world would be a much happier place, that's for sure. So I didn't want to edit any part of this out, so I'm just speeding it up again. And on my blog, I've had so many giveaways in the past week, and there's still available. Winners won't be announced till the 25th. So you might want to check out some of my previous blog posts as well. And then, of course, my blog post for today, there's a giveaway as well. But talk about the Simon Says stamp release. Oh my gosh, it's fabulous. Now, I've scribbled some more orange onto my acrylic palette there, and this is a larger area, so it requires a little bit more water, and you need to go back into that paint. And I'm just adding some yellow. Now here's that shimmer stuff that I'm putting on the moon. I'm just adding it on top of my watercoloring. And now the way I'm applying the color on the rays of the sun, instead of picking it up on my palette, I'm putting a line of color on the ray, and then I bring the water to meet that line and then pull that down. And you still want to be careful that you don't just wash it all with the color. You want that gradient look. So I'm just doing that on all the rays. You have a little bit more intense color on the line, of course, where you put the marker. So sometimes you don't want that look, but try both ways. It's two different looks and a little bit more pronounced. It looks fabulous on flowers. But this is so easy, so simple, such a easy, satisfying way to watercolor. I love it. The Tombow markers, they're made in the United States. They don't fade quite as much, I hear, as the Zig markers, but those are fun too. So I'm just going to finish up my rays here. This is what it looks like when the watercoloring's done. Then I picked up a fine tip Sharpie marker, and I just like to go over the writing. I added some white accents, and then I traced over everything with my Sharpie marker. Now I'm adding some colored pencils. Now you always want to have a light hand with a colored pencil, and I feel you always need a sharp tip. That's the best pencil, is a sharp tip. So I'm taking some of the lines. Now notice, okay, wait. Sorry. Sometimes I will shift my hand further down the pencil. So if you have a heavier grip, if you shift your fingers down more towards the middle of the pencil, it helps you have a lighter grip. And I kind of do that a little bit here. Now on some of these rays, I'm bringing the line, just the pencil line, just halfway down some of the rays, and using a diagonal line just for a little bit of artistic. Yeah, there's a lot of rays, so I thought might as well make it look a little different. So you can see I did that with some of the pink, on some of the yellow, and you can see it in the end photo better. It's just very subtle. Now I wanted a little bit more intensity in the sun, so I'm just kind of taking my pencil, I'm pushing a little bit harder towards that line, and then ever so softly pulling that color out. Now I don't like to use Scamasol. I don't like to use anything. I like the texture that it gives. I think it's much more interesting, but that's me. Now look where the pencil is. See that yellow ray? You can see the pink I used on the yellow in the lines, the diagonal lines. That's just, I did that on a few of the rays for fun. So see, now look where I'm holding the pencil towards the end, because I don't want to wash this all with colored pencil. And then I'm just picking up a little orange to kind of blend that out a little bit, because I really want the center to be lighter and the edges to be darker. I want to pull the eye in to that really cool sentiment. So there's a lot of ways you can finish this off. I actually traced over the waves with vellum, but then I liked how the waves looked. I didn't want to cover it up, and I ended up just doing a band of vellum, and you'll see that. Now here I'm working on those rays, the diagonal lines, being careful not to press too hard. And then of course we need a little bit more of interest and some of these waves. Now I only did colored pencil on some of the waves. because it's just more interesting if they all have the colored pencil on top. I don't know, it just kind of mutes out, I think. So that's what I'm doing. And then some of the waves have glitter too. So, and you'll see that when I focus in on the close-up, and you can be the judge if you like that or not. So I would love it if you could pop over to my blog, TheDailyMarker.com. Check it out. I'm hoping to do one more project for this blog hop other than this. Here's the finished product. See how some is the colored pencil and some has the glitter, and then you can just see how that glitter stands out. And then I used a belly band of vellum and some twine to finish it. So thank you so much for watching. A thumbs up is always appreciated, and see you again soon.